Alright guys, so there's been a massive spike in new corona cases in the US over this last week, and specifically the last 4 days have been atrocious. So this has mostly been in initially less touched areas, so either places that had under control partially and then completely reopened right after, or places that didn't even have it under control and decided to open up nevertheless. So, notably you have Arizona, Texas, and California that have had significant surges. So, just put this in context: the biggest one day surge in in cases was 38,000. Now, 3 days ago, we had 47,000 new cases. So that's 15-20% more, 9,000 more cases. Um, so it's a huge jump. And it's a result of, frankly, just temerity and ignorance. People ignoring doctors' advice, ignoring social distancing, ignoring wearing masks. And listen up, guys. It's not just done to annoy you. It's done to not only protect you, but it's also done to protect others, specifically those that are vulnerable. And of course, it's an interesting proposition to say, let's only have a lockdown for elderly people, so people above 60, above 50. 50 is questionable, but certainly above 60 years old. But even then, a lot of the time, younger people live with their elderly parents or their elderly grandparents, and so when they go to a party with 1,000 people and they go back home, they may have caught the virus. The next day, your mom who has cancer has an underlying condition, or I don't know what other things she could have. There's a number of things, or she's 75 years old and now is massively at risk. Is much more likely to die, and so as a direct result of your temerity and impertinence, you have killed somebody that you cared for, or at least have put them in significant danger and significant risk of dying as a result, as a direct result of your actions. So just this plain ignorance and inability to listen to the statistics, listen to the doctors telling you, guys, let's calm down, let's just try and socially distance. And of course it's much harder when the economic response has been so bad and so dire by the government, and you have this approach of socialize the losses and privatize the gains, which is what's happened. But the whole economic response we'll talk about more in depth and deeply in another video. But directly speaking on Corona, these states that have just thought, oh, it's not a big deal, we can reopen, even though the CDC guidelines directly say that you have to have they say that you have to have a decline of 2 weeks before you move to phase 1. Some of these states went directly to phase 4 after having no leveling off or decrease in active cases, but they still decided to let's just reopen everything up. Nothing will go wrong. Well, of course it went wrong, and now you have incredible surges, and now it looks increasingly likely that U.S. citizens won't be allowed to travel to Europe in the summer, which is both bad for Europe and for those citizens that wanted to do so. So yeah, man, people have to take more control, understand the situation more, and not just think, oh, my governor said it's open, so we must be all safe, and let's just all go out and party. That, of course, isn't the right approach. And those people that are protesting, you are directly helping the problem. I would say the same thing about those that protested for George Floyd. You are killing people, whether you like it or not. You are killing people, and you are also helping. You are adding to the reason for why we need a lockdown, why the US needs a lockdown. So when you say, oh, when you go out on the street with 1,000 people and you say, oh, you go to the governor's building or the town hall or whatever, and you go, oh, free us, stop the lockdown. you are directly adding to the evidence that would allow a lockdown to take place, because you're increasing cases, increasing deaths. So, and frankly, I don't think it should take a government to tell somebody stay at home because you're going to kill people. I think, it should be your own thinking, seeing how many people have died, over 120,000 in the US. How many people have got the virus? Over 10 million people in the world have gotten the virus now, and just those two simple statistics should tell you, let me think, should I really go out today, or is it maybe safer if I stay at home, or only one of us goes to the supermarket, or just these little just the bare minimum is not to go to big events where there are tens, hundreds of people stacked outside, or especially inside is the absolute worst in terms of transmission. And of course there's a huge lack of knowledge in terms of how the virus works, but that's natural, and that it's a new virus and science takes time. I, for one, was not expecting to know everything about the virus. The majority of things we learn of the virus in terms of its transmission are learned after the fact, and so I'm not really relying on any kind of reliable information on that matter until this whole thing is finished, or until its closing stages, at least, if there is ever going to be one. Hopefully there will be. So yeah, people should just pay more attention, be more careful, and as a result you would have far less cases. You see in Europe many far less cases. You see a slight increase, but a overall significant decrease in active cases, because people are more aware, and they take it into their own hands more, I feel like. And of course that varies significantly over Europe, but as a whole, people understand the issue at hand, and they're taking it into their own hands, which is a good thing. And in the end, you will have less cases and less deaths as a result of those things. And going out to protest to say don't do the lockdown won't do that. So there you go.